Good afternoon. Well, recently I have come to the conclusion that I need to do something different, something I haven't ever done before. The thing is that I have been teaching English for a long time. To be more specific, I've been doing this since 1999, and I was the first one living in Tashkent who introduced the concept of instructor. Since then, a lot of my ex-students started to call themselves that name. So they started saying, no, I'm not a teacher, I'm an instructor. Okay, everything's fine about this because I believe that something good should be adopted. And I believe it's a good thing to do. Well, um, a bit closer to the line, I want to say that I have decided to instruct you on writing short essays. Um, it's very important to be able to do that. I have noticed that modern students, regardless of their region, experience great problems with generating ideas when they're asked to uh, give their opinion on something, to describe something, or to think up an answer on the spur of the moment. On the spur of the moment is an idiom which means right now and right here, having no time to think over what to say next. And you know what? Even my students, so I believe that my students are one of the best ones, and even they often face up to the problem of saying something right now without long consideration. And it is because they haven't got accustomed to practicing um, creating ideas, stories. Yeah, this is their weak point. And I also think that if some of you sooner or later, I wouldn't say that sooner or later you will have to do that. You will have to take an international examination, like for example, IELTS or TOEFL, you name it, it doesn't matter. So such an exam usually contains a speaking component, and when speaking to the examiner, you are checked whether or not you can not only speak English. I even would say that examiners check your ability to make an answer immediately, and not a standard one. This is the most essential part of the examination, and traditionally it brings about the greatest problems. It can be explained easily in psychological terms. Imagine, I know that a lot of people residing in Central Asia are crazy about taking IELTS examination. For some reason, it has become quite popular in that part of the world. Okay, let's take it as an example. So you are one of the applicants and you're about to get into the classroom where the examination is being held. Okay, and you are not the first one, even not the second one to come into the room. Let's say your number is 35, okay? Which means that before you, 34 other applicants have taken the speaking part of the examination. And most of them came up with the same model answers, answering the examiner's questions. For example, to the question, do you like reading? They would definitely say, yes, I do. And what kind of reading do you like? Most of them are very likely to have answered, detective stories. Really? Okay. Oh, another similar story. Do you like music? I do. What kind of music do you like? It's the next traditional question. They say classical, though they have never even listened to any piece of classical music. And the examiner, the poor guy, has to listen to the shitty answers over and over again. And now your turn is to enter the room. And looking at you, he thinks to himself or to herself, "Oh my God, now this guy is about to answer the same way. Oh shit." He may think of you. And suddenly, Surprisingly to the examiner, you start speaking differently. I don't mean the expressions which you may use, which you may put into your talks. I don't mean the vocabulary side, nor do I mean the grammatical side of the matter. No, I mean the contents. For example, look, to the question, do you like reading? Um, you can say, no, unlike many others, I don't. I don't like reading because actually reading has become my personal enemy. I'm pretty sure that my answer may surprise you a lot, but uh, to tell the truth, I used to read a lot, yes, and that pushed me to the brink because if I had kept on reading the same way, I would be blind now because the reading okay brought down my eyesight and I can't see properly anymore. And my doctors have told me that I'm very likely to become blind if I keep on reading. And since then, I have started to hate reading. It's a rather unusual answer, or a very, very widespread question concerning your region. So, what is your native town? They may ask you, and you may say, "Oh, this is the usual answer I give my students in order to show them that they should think extraordinarily. For example, to this question, they can say, it's a very problem for me. It's a great problem for me to answer such an easy question because I was born to a typical military family. And because of that, my parents used to travel around my country very often. And when my mom was pregnant with me, and when she was about to give birth, she happened to be on the train moving from town X to town Y. And, she gave me birth right on the train. And since that time, whenever asks me about my region, I usually point to the two towns X and Y as my native ones. I call them or I consider them both my native towns. Something unusual to attract the positive IELTS examiner's attention to you, to your personality. That will be a very strong indicator that you can think, that you can generate ideas. Yeah, the both sides involved into the conversation, into the controlled exam conversation, understand perfectly well that it's a play, it's a performance being played by the two actors, the examiner on the one hand and the exam taker on the other hand, and they pretend to be playing the game. And if you are quite good at playing the game, so you are very likely to get a higher band score. You stand a chance to get a high score for your speaking skills. The same is applicable to some extent. It's applicable to your writing skills because when you write about something or about somebody, you are expected to come up with something rather non-standard, and your writing should make you stand out against others because 99% of other fellows taking the same examination are very likely to, how to say, to write in a similar way. And it's not a good thing to do. It won't help them, it won't contribute to their getting a higher band score. You should be, um, you should be different from them. You should be unique. Your speaking and writing skills should be unique, but it's not easy to pick them up. First of all, it's time consuming. Secondly, it's not that easy to get your brain start working harder in order to generate ideas. In practical terms, it means that if you don't read a lot, if you are not interested in knowing something new and something really captivating, you will never be able to do that. And well, if it's okay for you to get a standard score, about 55% of the maximum you can get. So you even don't need to listen to me, and you can say goodbye to me now. Those of you who would like to increase their chances of getting a high score, listen to me, watch my videos, okay? And while watching, please do something what I'm doing on the screen of the computer, of my computer, because I will be doing the writing so that you can see what I'm doing, and I will be commenting on what I'm writing. Okay, it's I I would even say one thing. You might have seen my previous videos uh, uh, when I when I speak to my students, right? When I interview them, putting them various questions. You know, one of my friends, after watching another video, wrote me that she believes that I previously give my um, student a list of questions, and they get prepared in order to speak fluently. That's wrong. I never do like this because I want to be authentic. I want to be real, and that is perhaps I wouldn't say it's a strong point of mine, but I hope that it's like this. I don't do that, and for that reason, I want to be open to you. I want to be honest to you and to myself first of all. Okay. So, writing. What we are going to do today is not a typical examination writing. Not. It is rather a writing which is practiced in South Korea in order to pass the examination on English with flying colors. By the way, it's an idiom to pass an exam with flying colors, which means to pass exam very successfully. So I want to say that South Korean university students, when taking their finals on English, are expected to write a very short, not long, by the way, but informative essay on on a particular question. On a particular question. Usually, these questions can be classified into the following groups: description, prediction, well, giving a word of advice, explanation. We will consider everything. For example, as for explanation, you may be asked to explain why people have started to let each other down more, why people have started to not to trust each other. As for prediction, then you may be asked to predict what kind of weather we may eyewitness in 20 years or in 2 decades time, for example. Or you also can be asked to describe your future marriage, maybe what kind of family partner you would like to live with, etc. But these questions are short, but this is a very serious test. I will tell you why, because even though it's a short question, it implies that you are expected to write in detail. Let's talk about this, by the way. In this video, I will show you some examples of writing styles, depending on several factors: the grammar factor, the vocabulary factor, and a good manner factor. And a good manner factor. Uh, and you will see yourselves the differences, and you will pick up the one which is closer to you. Okay. So I have chosen one question. So again, I want to say that it is how to say, it was given to some South Korean students. Yeah. So I guess that you can see the word. Okay, and the question is, so the question is, um, so let me write down short. I want to emphasize again, short. It's not a typical essay or TOEFL writing. Short essay writing strategy. Strategy. Okay. So, and the question is, describe a neighbor of yours. Of yours. You know, I have chosen this seemingly neutral question to show you that it's not that easy to deal with. It's not that easy to deal with. And okay, the first example is example number one. Example number one. Oh, I'm not good at writing, at typing. I'm sorry. So example number one. It's elementary level. Elementary level. Some of you may think, oh, if it is elementary level, if it is at elementary level, it can't be good. Well, strictly speaking, to some extent, such an idea isn't groundless. Yes, indeed, because the level itself is not that high, and if an examiner is quite strict, so the exam taker at the elementary level can't expect to get a high score. However, we can maximize the score such an applicant can get. So I will be writing, okay, making some comments, and I will pretend to be an elementary speaker, elementary English speaker, who is trying to write a short essay where he is supposed to describe a neighbor of his, okay? So let it be, it is a pure imagination. I'm sorry, it is pure imagination. And this is I would say, the foundation of somebody's writing success. Only imagination. Remember, if you cannot activate your imagination, if you can't turn on the fruitful thinking plus imagination, you will never be able to write anything. Absolutely. Okay, example number one. Again, it is at elementary level. Remember that at the elementary level, a student can handle such such tenses as the present simple, the present continuous, the past simple, and partially the present perfect. At the same time, a student is expected to be able to handle the articles more or less correctly. Also, they are supposed to know how to use correctly such constructions as there is, there are, and the correct use of quantifiers, a lot of, much, many, is also an incorporated part of the syllabus, elementary level syllabus. Well, and what else? And the use of infinitives and gerunds, not completely, but they should show that they can do that. Okay, let's start. Let's get started. So I have a neighbor. I have a neighbor. So let's show the examiner that I know how to use the apostrophe S construction. The neighbor's names, Mary. I'm sorry, Mary. Well, she's 35. She's 35. Well, and she's married. And she's married. By the way, wanted to draw attention to the correct spelling of owners. For example, here I'm supposed to write the word 35 with a hyphen. Without hyphen, it is a mistake. Writing such words without a hyphen is a mistake. Remember that. You can't write 35 without this element. So she is 35 and she is married. As you can see, the sentences are relatively easy. They are not extended, but informative. Also, I remember that I should describe her. And another essential part of anybody's description is to say what a person does. So she's an actress. She's an actress. She works in a theater. Well, here This sentence, it is a big question whether to use a or the before the word theater, because we are accustomed to saying in the theater, to the theater, etc. However, in this sentence, I want to say that there are some theaters in the town where we both live, and she works in one of them. And because of this idea, in one of them, I can use the article at. So she works in a theater. Okay. Um, well, I also should describe our interaction with each other, right? Because she lives next door, and I say she says hello to me when we see each other. I want to say a couple of words about the correct use of the verbs say and tell. Say is used with the preposition to if we say who we address our words to. She said to me. We can't say she said me. Oh, it's bad English. There are two ways to express this idea. We say something to somebody, or we tell somebody something. Okay, so she says hello to me when we see each other. When we see each other. Well, and I'm happy. And I'm happy. I want to dwell on this part of the sentence, and I'm happy. It seems to be very easy. It seems to be very easy. And somebody may ask me, why should we use that? Why should we write about that? About my being happy when she says hello to me, when she greets me. I will tell you why. Because I should be different from others. I should incorporate some personal details in order to make my writing live, not standard, not, I would say, too official. And what can help me about it is incorporating some personal details. And this is one of them. And I continue this idea. I like, I'm sorry, I like her very much because she is absolutely beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I'm sorry. She is absolutely beautiful. Well, I have just described her appearance, her looks. Well, then I continue the idea of my interaction with her. And I need to introduce something else. Okay, there is a garden near our house where people can relax in the evening. What is good about this sentence? Here, I show the examiner that I know the construction there is, how to use it. I also show the examiner that I know how to use correctly the article a in the construction there is. Also, I show the examiner that I know how to fix together two sentences. Here, where is not a simple word. It is a connector which unites this part of the sentence with this one, okay? And there is another positive moment about the sentence too. The modal verb can. I show the examiner that I know how to use the modal verb, and I also show that I know that we don't use to after the modal verb can. Okay, there is a garden near our house where people can relax in the evening. And she also uses the brilliant opportunity. You see, what is good about this sentence? I use the word brilliant. If I remember rightly, the collocation brilliant opportunity is used in the Handway elementary students book. and also I use the article there correctly because I'm sorry, this one, because the word opportunity refers to the relaxation in the garden, which I have already mentioned above. And that's why, as I mentioned above, I'm supposed to use the article there because now I understand what opportunity is being talked about. Okay. I also use the suffix as add to the main verb because it is the present simple tense and it is she. The subject is she. Okay, and she also uses the brilliant opportunity. For instance, I also remember that such introducing constructions as for instance, for example, hence, however, and many others are separated from the rest of the sentence with the help of a comma. So, for instance, comma, she likes reading a book, on a bench in the garden. What is good about this sentence? First of all, I show the examiner that I know how to connect a sentence with the previous one. To do that, we use so-called connectors, sentence connectors, and one of them is the collocation, for instance. Okay. Besides, I show the examiner that I know what a gerund is. In particular, I show that I know that the verb like is usually followed by a gerund. So she likes reading. A book. I don't mean any particular book. For that reason, I use the article a. Bench. There are many different benches in the garden, and she occupies one of them. One of them means a bench. Garden has been used previously. That's why I use the garden. You see, nearly each word in an English sentence should be double checked not to make a mistake, and you also should take this into consideration. Okay, what else? Yeah, in this case, I want you to understand one golden writing rule. If you have mentioned something, it doesn't matter whether you said it out or have written down in your notebook. Give some extension in the next sentence, explaining what you meant to say in the previous one. You see, in the sentence, for instance, she likes reading a book, blah blah blah. We show what she likes doing there, but we haven't written yet why she does it. Let's do that. She says she does the reading because while doing that activity, she can think over her plans, her current plans. To do what? To see the best options. Let's analyze the quality of this sentence. First of all, we see this is not that easy, unlike the previous ones, because this one contains some parts. For example, doing the activity, it's a part of the sentence which is linked with this part through this connector while. Okay. Well, and here is this one is the third part of the sentence, which is linked with the rest of the sentence with the word which, but normally we omit such words. Well, we could have written them down like this. She says she does the reading because while doing the activity. No, we can't use which here. Anyway, it's a good example of extended sentences. We could have used that here, the connector here. She says that, she does. But usually, normally, in spoken and these days in written English versions, we don't use such connectors. Okay, what is another positive moment about the sentence? The use of the gerund reading. Unfortunately, many not native speakers, um, even those of them who can speak English more or less okay, make such mistakes. They misuse gerunds with the verb do. The thing is that the verb do is often followed by a gerund. You might have heard, you must have heard that, for example, the verb go is often followed by a gerund. For example, go shopping, go fishing, go riding, go whatever, doing something, right? However, the verb does also, but it's not a pure gerund. It's a so-called a verb noun. Does the doing something. For example, does the shopping, does the reading, and we use the article there before this verb noun. It's a very good thing to do. So, and doing is a gerund. We remember that gerunds are used after prepositions, and while is one of them. Again, a modal verb. We use the phrase verb think over, which means analyze. We also use a good word, the good word current. Well, and we show the examiner that we know superlative comparison degrees of words, the best, for example. And the word options isn't easy in vocabulary terms either. You see, step by step, sentence by sentence, we try to construct such a sentence which would make the examiner believe that you are not complete zeros, even at the level of elementary level. Okay, so she does it. What else? I guess we can include some information about your what your home is like. So we can write she owns a small flat, a small but very very, I would say cozy, we can say cozy flat flat where she keeps a cat. So what is good about this sentence? We'll use the verb own. In vocabulary terms, it's a good word. Instead of related with the easy word has, we can use the word own. Yeah, we can say, we can write, she has a small but very cozy flat. Yeah, we can. But owns is much better. The same is applicable to the word cozy. I hope that you know the translation of this word, but if you aren't given enough time to think over which word to pick up, most of you are very likely to use the word good. But the word good is very easy and it won't help you to get a higher score. So she owns a small but very cozy flat where she keeps a cat. Again, we give some extension with the help of this sentence, which connects with the main one through the word where, right? She keeps a cat. We use the word cat for the first time. That's why we use the article because firstly, we talk about one cat and we didn't talk about it before. So she owns a small but very cozy flat where she keeps a cat. People say she loves animals. The cat is very lucky. You see, I have mentioned a cat. Now I need to, as I told you before, I need to give some extension about the cat to make my writing informative and complete. And in other words, I need to add some extra interesting, attention-grabbing components, I guess, some elements. So people say that she loves animals. The cat is very lucky because Mary buys the pet. Let's show the example that we know the word pet. The best food, the best cat's food. Let's make a pause to take a look at the sentence. What is good about this sentence? First of all, the word choice, lucky, then pet, then in grammatical terms, I use the construction apostrophe s, but if we compare this construction with this one, I guess you see the difference. It's easy to understand because in this case, I mean the food for all cats, and that means that I should use cats. You know, the problem is that, for example, I'm writing in brackets. So, for example, the two words sounds identical: cats versus cats. You see, and only on the basis of the rest of the sentence you can understand which one is meant. Okay, so the cat is very lucky because Mary buys the pet the best cat's food. Well, in my opinion, which means I believe, yeah, instead of I believe, in my opinion, Mary is a bit strange. Mary is a bit strange. Now I'm using another connector because I want to extend the sentence. I'm sorry, because she never speaks to someone who wants to talk to her, who wants to talk to her. As you see, I'm using a relatively easy grammatical structures, which a good elementary student is supposed to know. But remember, to know something and to use what you know aren't identical things. You may know a lot of things, but when it comes to applying what you know, the reality may turn out to be much worse, much worse. Well, what I mean to say is that if you want to become a fluent both speaker and writer, you should practice your writing and speaking skills daily so that the words you need to use to put in your conversation come to your mind automatically. If you are lazy, and all of us are actually, and me too, if you are lazy, you should have enough psychological, I would say even spiritual strength to get yourself to do that. I mean, to write a very short essay or to speak to yourself. For example, when I was a student, I used to talk to myself and I didn't pay any attention to people around me. Once, believe me or not, but it's true, once when I was on the bus going to the university, I started to sing in English, of course, not very loudly, but people sitting around me could hear that. It was quite audible. Of course, not like that Pakistan girl. She is a professional singer and she's a nice singer. I like it, the way she sings. But anyway, I thought to myself, I asked myself, come on, George, can you get over the fear of public speaking? Can you prove yourself that you can speak in presence of other people whom you have never seen before, total strangers? And I hope that I I could cope with this with a fear of concerning with public speaking. It's very difficult to do, and most of you are afraid of speaking publicly. Yeah, I know that there are some students residing in Uzbekistan, and currently they are being taught by my ex-student. I will tell you one story which occurred to her once she came to the class with incomplete done homework, and I decided to teach her. To teach her, I said, you want to come into the class until you interview somebody whether or not people believe that or not that UFOs do exist. And she was supposed to do it under my supervision. I was standing um, drinking tea and keeping an eye on her, trying to ask old ladies whether or not they believe that UFOs exist. Yes, and it was difficult, really, psychologically, not in linguistic terms, but psychologically, it was difficult to do. Just imagine that, picture that in your mind. It's not easy to come up to a total stranger asking, "Excuse me, can I ask you a few questions?" I'm a reporter working for a newspaper, for a local newspaper. We are investigating the question whether or not people living here believe in UFOs or not. The first reaction to such questions is that the person who's asking such questions must be crazy a bit. Okay, let's come back to our sheet. So, Mary, a bit strange because she never speaks to someone who wants to talk to her. Um, but there are many people who like your talent and who often would like to present her flowers for your roles. Well, remember that she is a theater actress. What is good about this sentence? Again, I use the construction there are, and I use the quantifier many. I show the examiner that I understand that the word people is a countable noun. That's why I use the word many. I also use the connector word who to join this part of the sentence to the previous one. And I show the examiner that I know how to use the construction would like to, because the construction would like is followed by the infinitive to present, yes? And the preposition for, I just want to say that many people being naive believe that the most challenging part about English grammar is the tenses. Absolutely no. The tenses are the easiest part of the English grammar. The most challenging one is English prepositions. If you ask any professional interpreter or translator, they will confirm my words. Okay. So we remember that we are talking about writing short essays. Short essays. That means that they should consist of around 200 words, and now we've got about 170 words, right? So in the previous sentence, I showed that I like her, right? So let's come back to this idea. However, I can use this word. However, I'm still in love with her. Why is it important to include this sentence into the whole writing? Again, to show my being involved into what I'm writing about, to show that it's true, though we both know it's not true. I mean, by both I mean the examiner and me as an applicant. Well, however, I'm still in love with her. Mm, sometimes when we see each other. She looks down at me with her cold uh, mm, with her okay at me, and I am afraid she understands my feelings. That'll be enough. You see, this is a very primitive writing, again, at elementary level. However, what are the, again, let's sum up. What are the good moments about the writing? First of all, nearly no mistake. I hope that I haven't made mistakes, but if I have, so let me know, okay, in your comments. Secondly, I show that I can use the grammar which I have learned at the learning English at elementary level, such things as the present simple tense, the quantifiers, the construction, there is, there are, the articles, right? In vocabulary terms, I use, for example, such words as, let's see which words I believe are good in vocabulary terms. Absolutely, for example. Then relax. Why not? It's a good word. Brilliant opportunity. It's a good collocation. Then think over. It's a very good collocation. Well, then current, which means it's synonym for the word present. Then owns. Then cozy. Then instead of has a cat, keeps a cat. Oh, the quantifier a bit. It's another good quantifier. By the way, never say speaks with someone, speaks to someone, okay, and talk to somebody. So the word talent is another good word. So look down at me. Feelings. You see, these words make the vocabulary part of my answer good. Again, pure, relatively pure grammar, more or less good word choice, and the incorporation of my personality into what I'm writing about. All these factors make my writing more or less okay, and it is at the elementary level only, you see? What I mean to say is that even at the elementary level, you can write effectively. In other classes, I hope that I will be able to show you how to write short essay stories, maybe not stories, okay, or writing, how to do the writing even better. But to do that, we will have to jump at a higher level, okay? And we will be writing answer the same question, describing a neighbor of yours. Oh my God, of yours. Describe it. Oh, I've been teaching you and I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Yeah, describe a neighbor of yours. So thank you for your attention. I do hope that it was more or less interesting for you. So try to write similar things in your notebooks so that it's not just a waste of time, okay? Jump to any opportunity to practice your both writing and speaking skills. I know that some of my students started to speak effectively only after they could write effectively, because effective writing is another intermediate step towards thinking and speaking automatically fluently. Yes, that's for sure. Though there are some who don't need it and who can speak on this present moment right now. It depends. Uh, all people are different, right? Thank you very much for your attention. See ya.